So dads, listen, here's the situation. Most of the time, when there's a divorce involved or separation involved, we get the bulk of the blame. It shouldn't be that way, but that's usually the way society would like to have it. And as a result, we have to be very intentional, very strategic in terms of how we reconnect with our children, because they harbor a lot of hate, a lot of hurt, and confusion as to what happened and why it happened. So for us to reposition ourselves, we have to really think about the best steps possible to reconnect with our children. So I have 5 tips that will help you reconnect with your children and to be in a better space. And you don't have to worry about whether or not you're the bad guy anymore, because they're just focusing on you as a dad. Okay, Dad, so let's talk about the first piece of advice that will make all the difference in the world when it comes down to you reconnecting with your children. So it's simply this one key. Make sure that you continue to reach out. And I know sometimes they won't want to be bothered. They'll come up with excuses why they can't get with you. It is your weekend. They want to hang out with friends. But they're only doing this because right now they're very upset. Only thing that they can focus on is the fact that they're still with the mom. You're not in the household no more. And as far as they can tell, you're the main reason of why they don't have a family no more. And what you have to do is be very patient in them coming around to the fact that they have a different relationship as far as family is concerned, and that they have different dynamics with you. And once you begin to continue to reach out every day in every way, they'll begin to see that nothing has changed. Your love remains the same, and that they still are the center of your world. Tip number 2 is something that as adults we fail to do, because when we think about drama and we think about not getting along, we only think about it from our perspective, but we need to think about it from their perspective. So here's the beginning of tip number 2. You see this shoe right here? Put yourself in their shoes. And what that simply means, imagine the hurt, imagine the pain, imagine the isolation, imagine the confusion, imagine all of the things that has upset their world, and imagine that the 2 most important people in their world are no longer together, they're no longer friends, they're no longer connected, they're no longer gelling. And you and the mom somehow have to reimagine this new life. But most importantly, you, because at the end of the day, it comes down to how you're gonna handle it. Because you're the person that's usually looking in, because the children are left with the mom. And as long as you have a good understanding of the shoes that they're walking in, you'll be able to get through this. But never forget, their hurt and their pain, it's not just about what you're experiencing, it's about what they're experiencing, and you working this thing out so that you can decrease that level of pain and confusion that your kids are experiencing. So gentlemen, tip number 3 is very important. You know, young people always fantasize about becoming adults too soon. But in cases where there's a separation and a divorce involved, this happens overnight. And because that happens overnight, one of the main things that you have to do is talk with them. Explain to them that the reason that there is a divorce or separation is that you and the mother have decided to create a new family, and it has nothing to do with them. They didn't cause it, they didn't make it happen, and whatever it is right now, there is still love from you and the mom towards them. But most importantly, you have to talk to them and help them see their way through these dark clouds. It shouldn't be a mystery about which direction their lives are going in and how you fit into this whole equation. If you talk to them, they'll have the answers that they need. And that will also help erase the pain that they're experiencing in this particular moment. So it's coming down to the wire now, and here's tip number 4, dads. There are no enemies. Don't blame the mom and don't blame yourself. It's not a matter of who receives the blame, but now it's a question of who's willing to make the changes that are necessary for the new way of life that you and your children will ultimately walk into. It's about accepting responsibility that the two of you have created this new life, and it is going to take the two of you to fix it. The sooner you can accept that there aren't any bad guys, it's just a matter of differences, the sooner your children can begin to see that there aren't any bad guys. It's just a matter of you and mommy disagreeing, and how do we fit into the scheme of things. And that's where you should be mentally, emotionally, and that's where your children should be mentally and emotionally. But they only will arrive there if you take ownership of your part, which is being the best dad that you can be in the moment and helping them see their way through this difficult maze that they now live in. Tip number 5, dads, and this is the most crucial. At the end of the day, what matters most is simply this. You need to create a new timeline. The timeline that you guys used to live in no longer exists. Daddy and mommy are no longer together. You're now in a timeline where where the two of you are co-parents. And because of that, you have to act as such. From this moment on, you're creating new journeys, new memories, new moments. And the more that you are able to create the new timeline, the less the old timeline will impact the new timeline. And that simply means pushing forward with a new agenda and a new way of life. And once everybody understands that they are entangled or connected to the new timeline, things will start to make sense, things will start to feel better. And once you begin to understand that this new timeline is where it is right now, everybody can benefit from that. And that's what will make you a sincere dad, a loving dad, an effective dad, and a man that understands that at this point in my life, I have to deal with the cards that are before me. And that is this new timeline that I live in. So dads, remember, the new timeline is not to erase old memories, but it's to decrease the trauma and the tension that exists from that old timeline, and to reassure your children that you are there, and that most importantly, one thing has not changed. How you feel about them, how you love them, and how you're committed to them. And once they begin to see these things, not just said to them in words, but act out in actions, you will be so much better, they will be so much better, and you'll be leading the life that you want to lead as a new dad. And once you buy into this new timeline, the children will buy into it, the mom will buy into it, you will buy into it, all those concerned will buy into it. And before you know it, there are new memories, new journeys, new moments, and a new way of life that everyone can benefit from. But remember that old timeline is of no value to you at this moment. And moving forward, what's going to make you the most effective dad possible is you understanding that your job right now is to create new moments, to help them sift through what is a difficult period. But I know you can do it as a dad, because guess what? Dads are very discerning. Dads understand that when there are critical times in the lives of his children, they're there to make a difference. So step forward boldly, step forward courageously, and accept your new tasks in the new timeline, making sure that your children understand that you love them and nothing has changed. My name is JB the Mentor, and as I always say, love yourself, love your community, and be the change that you want to see. Please hit that like button, that subscribe button, that bell in the middle, so that when new content is released, you'll be the first ones to receive it.